a very special episode of the Fight Back podcast. I want to thank Jake Shields to my right for bringing us all together and coordinating this. I really appreciate you, brother, and thank you for everything you're doing. We got a legendary panel today. We got Dan Bilzerian, who's stepped out, put his neck out on the line, all Gentile-dom. We have Ken Okeefe right here, 25-year activist, was on the Freedom Flotilla, connected to a lot of people, connected to a lot of individuals who fought this battle. Jonathan Azaziah, arguably the #1 JP researcher on the face of the planet and the galaxy, incredible author and written a ton of content on this. Obviously, Jake Shields, champion fighter, done a lot of work on the subject, brought a lot of people to awareness on the subject. Myself, Converse, writer of 9/11 Missing Links, founder of the JP Project. And to my left, Brother Kimathi, black nationalist, revolutionary. He's written a lot of books on the subject.
What's the name of the book?
Another problem. That's the title of the book.
That's the problem.
I wrote the second one as well. And so,
The problem.
I haven't read that one yet. I read the first one.
With 1 point.
He gave it to you, right?
that's right. And one of the important things that he did in his book that I think is important to remember is that he put QR codes to back up the information. So, he says something and he backs it up with the original source that goes directly to the link. So I think that's important. And Ken and myself were lucky enough to have it forward in his book. So thank you for that. I wanted to start with you, Dan, because I know you don't have a lot of time. You've been already in a couple interviews. I wanted to just kind of get your perspective on how you came to the subject. Obviously, we know you for, poker and being kind of a playboy and all this other stuff, having guns and all this other stuff. A lot of men looked up to you. What made you get into this subject, put your neck out on the line, and be willing to, take all the heat that's come down on you? What was it that led to that?
Well, I just felt like I had the obligation to do it because I had a platform. Everybody felt like at the time I wanted to say it, nobody felt like they could say it. And so yeah, Rafa was kind of my red line when they marched them all into Rafa and then bombed them. And then about the same time I read about the USS.
Oh, I got one person there. Hey,
I
welcome.
think it was Memorial Day.
Come learn with me, guys.
They just bombed Rafa.
9 people?
Memorial
Fuck yeah.
Day, USS Liberty was like, okay, fuck Israel. That was my first movie.
Okay. Hey, I got 9 people in here. Let me open the pack of Pokemon cards for you guys. See if I can get a hit. See if I can get a hit. Y'all can have this code card? You can have it. You can have it.
Yeah, I mean,
My boy just hanging out learning.
Learn.
Learning. See if I get lucky.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah, kicked off the board in the company.
Come on, Lee.
Quit, send you crazy bills.
Change your conduct.
Oh, they burned a bunch of my money,
Fucking
fucked
nothing.
up my cases, and then bailed.
Right back to the news. Kind of news.
Yeah, well, I told them to go fuck themselves, but yeah, they
Welcome. Hit that like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys being here.
screwed up my cases, like,
And so many people, when they have that pressure hit them, they start cucking, they start backing off.
Yeehaw.
YouTubers apologizing to rabbis, etc.
Going to the wall.
What made you
Hope y'all
say,
having a good
I'm gonna
night.
double down, I'm gonna go in deeper, I'm gonna learn more about this? I mean, because I know you're Armenian. Did that have anything to do with it, etc.?
No, I knew that I was right.
Nice.
That kind of proved the point, right? Like when they tell Kanye that they're not in control of all these things and they use all these things to fuck him up after he speaks out about it. I mean, it's just like confirmation. So, and also, I thought they were gonna kill me, so this was like, just kind of a little better than.
Yo, that's wild. I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't think it was gonna be good. Yeah, I've never been really good about keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah, especially when they tell you you can't speak. I think that's one of the things that probably is a common thread between all of us here.
I think we're all the same on that. But with Dan, too, we were new friends at the time, and he had a lot of pressure from people around him.
Hey, if you guys have any opinions, comment down below. I'd love to hear them.
How long did that last?
Not long. I knew it too, because I started picking up right before you, and I could tell you were struggling. But you came in so fucking hard. I thought you were gonna like dabble. I look at open online. I'm like, oh my god, Dan just went off.
I gotta ask you though on that note, because like if when you know you're doing the right thing and stuff, and then like you're not stupid, like you knew like obviously this is gonna be a bit of a problem if I do this, and then they start putting that pressure on you. Did that strengthen you? Because for me,
Yeah.
I like it. Like come hard for me, fuck me over hard. That shit just motivates me. It makes me feel more.
Sorry, my camera's off. Fuck.
Who were getting any of us. Did it have that effect on you?
I
Like,
tapped
fuck
him, I
you,
think,
you
by
want to try
focus.
and punch me for being me?
My
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, and then also the research, the more research you do, the more you know you're right. I mean, for me, Yeah, it wasn't a question. I knew it was the right path, so I knew somebody to say it. And, them coming after. Like I said, I expected them to fucking kill my ass. I literally thought that was what was going to happen. That's what my brother said was going to happen. That's what
I got one person here. I'll take it, man. Thanks for hanging out. I've been learning so much just listening to these podcasts.
It was very,
Yeah, I've been
Fun to
talking
react.
about it since almost 2 years. That's
Oh, wow.
when he lives in Vegas, yeah.
So he's decided to side with them?
Well, he's got a family. He's scared, you know.
I see, okay.
his brother is very, very educated is the funny part. He knows like way more than we did, but then he was like,
Don't mess
Oh
with
shit, 18 people. Welcome everybody. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys being here.
In the big picture, like,
Get in the comments. I'd like to get your opinions on anything.
Like a decade ago, I knew the subject for at least a couple years before.
yeah,
And I don't have.
Get in there, guys. Come on, I got a secret to tell you. Get in there.
I knew the consequence of speaking about
so we're
this.
scared, yeah.
And I decided, let me make sure I'm locked and loaded, man, ready to go before I come with this, because you better be ready, because they're gonna come with everything they got.
I know this sounds lame, but like me and Dan too were in some of these social circles around all these like rich and famous people. I thought I was gonna be totally ostracized from those circles, but I haven't been, which is really surprising me.
I'm sure that a lot of them they'll probably say things like, "Yeah, I agree with you." Like,
Well,
crazy
it's
not
a
to
very
listen to
different
me.
time now. Like,
Right.
people forget what it was like 2 years ago.
That's
Like,
right.
2 years ago was very different. Like, now it's like a fucking meme. Now it's like people do it for engagement. So,
I thought for sure I was gonna be ostracized.
They're making money off it.
circles. You did too, right? Like early
I
on.
mean, I definitely, had people kind of,
I've lost some friends, yeah.
I got too many friends anyways. Fuck, I
Yeah,
don't need
exactly.
fuck.
Oh, I got too many friends. God damn.
Friends.
What a problem to
Let me
have.
ask you guys this, because today is the anniversary of the JFK assassination, and the whole bottom line is that at some point when you do this work, you have to be ready to die. You have to be ready to sacrifice. And we see the Palestinians, when they lose one child, they say alhamdulillah, they're ready to lose another one. They know that they're on the righteous path. And look, and I think everybody here at this table recognizes that there's something beyond this life. And also, when we all do this together, it keeps us a little safer, because now you've got a crowd. And so they take one out, it amplifies the message. And so given that this is, the anniversary of the JFK assassination, we recently saw another major political assassination in the United States, the Charlie Kirk one. And I wouldn't lionize him as a quote-unquote martyr, but it did seem that he was stepping out of bounds on the subject of Israel. Robert Shillman was one of his top donors. He took away $2 million right before that. It turns out that some texts were leaked about him saying that donors fall into all.
Hey, 10 people in here.
no longer
Hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys.
Israel,
Thanks for hanging out.
And then I think a day before, and these tweets haven't been released, so it's unconfirmed, but it seems like he was saying that looks like they're going to kill me. And Harrison Smith had put that out a few weeks prior. I think
That was good, yeah, that was a good podcast. I thought it was stupid at the time because he's such a, Charlie Kirk's such an Israel show, but he's basically saying he's scared. I'm like, why isn't Alex speaking out? He's kind of like, well, Charlie thinks they're gonna kill him, kind of implying maybe that's why Alex doesn't speak out.
Yeah, and there's
And Charlie knew.
George Zinn, I know a lot of people are trying to say he's an LDS Mormon, etc. But Zinn, we know that ethnic name is also, there was a child porn allegation. We don't know if it's fully verified. So now you have that. Then you have Hunter Kozak, the son of Steve Hunter Kovach, son of Steve Kovach, who was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Just so happened that Jimmy Kimmel was sidelined for like a week or two afterwards because he made some insensitive comment. Hunter Kovach was the one who asked the question right as he was killed, and he was caught on camera putting his hand in his hair like this multiple times, like practicing his reaction. And then, of course, he actually gave that reaction when Charlie was shot right as he was killed. Josh Hammer put out some... Well, first of all, he was in this private thread with these 9 individuals, including a rabbi named, I think, Waliki.
Yo, Josh Hammer, a weird motherfucker.
He pretended like he didn't know that Charlie, 48 hours before he died, had said that he was going to leave the pro-Israel message until Candace kind of blasted him. And the day before the assassination, he retweeted a 2013 tweet from Donald Trump talking about public executions. I think it was in the context of rape or something like that. And he just retweeted it with no comment. And then the next day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he said public execution. And this is a guy that Charlie was really close with, tight with, and he also had an infamous kind of conversation with Dave Smith, and a lot of people saw what the aftermath of that was. So there's already substantial evidence. Also, Netanyahu came out. This is a very strange thing for the leader of the state to come out immediately after the assassination and said, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, in our circles, that's kind of a confirmation that you did, right? And did
That's
it
crazy.
not once but twice, because that immediate reaction. And what I told my private group was, it's going to be a litmus test as to whether or not people suggest that Israel was likely. And of course, we don't have evidence, but you know, if we're talking about JFK or 9/11, it's been decades since then. We can't absolutely prove in the court of law that the state of Israel was involved, but there's enough smoking gun evidence to suggest that it be the case. So it is important to start saying
It is
that.
relevant, as an oath-taking Marine, it is relevant to say that we have enough evidence in the public realm, never mind that which is hidden, that makes it clear who killed JFK. Literally, in the public realm. Same thing with 9/11. Like, what's in the public realm is enough.
I think
Never mind the things that are being hidden.
Yeah, 9/11, I think the evidence is so overwhelming, you know, like things like you put out there, but they can't kill us fucking all. That's the thing. They're not going to kill us all. None of us want to die, but none of us are scared to die here. I think, right? Is anyone here fucking not willing to die for the cause? I think we
No,
all are.
fuck you to the end, right? Fuck off, man. Happy to die in the process. I will not sell my self-worth or self-respect for you. Fuck off.
And
I think
Wow.
the most vulnerable time is if you are about to turn. Like, Charlie was in the most vulnerable time because they could kill him, make him a martyr, versus 2 days later, if he turns, then they can't touch him.
Yeah.
So he actually could have saved himself by saying it earlier. If you're gonna say it, you have to fucking say it. Don't half step and say, oh, I think I'm gonna turn. Like, if you're gonna turn, you better fucking turn. You better do it publicly.
Yeah, Dan gave me that advice early on. If you're going to do it, you might as well go harder, because if you half step, then it's like you're half the game to hate you just as much.
Yeah,
I'm like,
just
yeah, you're
don't
going so
do
hard.
it.
And she said that to me. I'm like, fuck, you're right.
This really should be a lesson, because I'm looking at all the young, look at the college kids and stuff who are protesting about divesting from Israeli money and all this stuff. Look at these young kids. Listen, going halfway makes you more vulnerable. It brings more risk on you. When you do it, arm yourself with the knowledge and go full bore. Full bore.
It's more obvious to kill us. They can kill Charlie Kirk and everyone's going to be like, he's a Zionist, you know?
Well, you know, and if I need an analogy, like I'm a surfer. If you're going to surf big waves, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you make a decision to paddle into a big wave, and I'm telling you, a 12-foot, 16-foot, 18-foot wave, that's scary fucking shit.
Fuck that. No thanks.
Do not do this halfway. If you paddle into a wave, you gotta go, and you gotta be ready to
You gotta
wipe
commit.
out, or you gotta fucking, if you do halfway, you're gonna wipe out, you're gonna fuck yourself up. Go.
If you go half in, they're going to hate you just as much. They're going to hate you more, I think. These guys respect me a little bit. They respect me and Dan. They fear Dan a little bit. They won't talk
Yeah,
to me.
they sure Dan.
And it's
What
important.
with Dave Smith? I don't know why.
I was trying to arrange a conversation with you, and Dave ghosted me. We've been friends for years, bro, and he ghosted me after that. Hasn't responded since. Like, he really did not want to talk to me.
Tell us why.
I know why, man. This is controlled opposition, and you know what? I don't care about your fuck off, man. You've had too much influence over our fucking policies and understanding of the world. You know what? You make up 0.2% of the 0.2% of the human population. Why the fuck am I hearing your view everywhere?
Oh,
Right
fuck.
Center. Fuck off. Go over there and sit in your little minority corner while us Goyim talk. I've had enough of you talk. I don't need your talk. I don't need you being the guy in front. I'm the guy who's fucking fought in Palestine. I've lived in Gaza and the West Bank. And I gotta hear you motherfuckers talk about Palestine? Fuck you. Fuck off. I'm really, like, enough of this. I don't care what you have to say. And this good fucking illusion. Blah. Renounce your fucking Judaism. I'm getting half fucking likely to talk to you.
Huh?
I mean,
Fucking
to be honest,
shots.
It's an important point to draw that, you know, when you look at the pro-Palestine movement, they've been around for a very long time. They've had funding, they've had a lot of information out there, but yet we just saw the worst genocide that we've all seen in, I think, in our entire lives. And it's all publicized. You see babies being killed, and not only that, but you see people, rabbis included, justifying it, using verses from the Talmud and the Old Testament, saying that this is the correct way. It's moral to kill these children, and for people in Telegram threads with hundreds of thousands of Israelis in there to talk about 3- and 4-year-old children, calling 4-year-old girls sluts, and oh, we'll kill her the next time.
Like, I see one that really hurt me. These girls were arms blown off, and they're like, haha, she can't hug her terrorist dad now. And like thousands of likes. That really made me sick as a father. It's just like, just sick people.
And that's normal. That is literally normal.
I wanted to pass it over to Jonathan because it is a JFK assassination, and Jonathan is, one of the best researchers on the subject on Earth, and I wanted to pass it to him to give us some of the names of tribe members who were involved with the JFK assassination as to why we say that we attribute that to Israel and its cyanine apparatus.
Yeah, absolutely, Okeefe. And before we just move the mic up here, and before we do, I just want everyone to take a quick look. This book here, written by easily, not arguably, easily, the greatest American nationalist, anti-Zionist, and anti-parasitic writer, Michael Collins Piper, who was a friend and brother, teacher, and mentor to me, as everyone can read here. He wrote this book.
Tell you showing off.
JFK
It's for me. You wrote a note in it for me.
Industry. And most of the people that you found within it were Jews, were people allied with Jews. And they talked about everything.
Oh shit, welcome in, guys. Hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out.
They talked about the CIA.
I got some Pokemon packs. Let me know if you guys want to see me roof something.
About Russia.
Maybe I get a hit. Who knows?
Out there, off the wall.
I'm out here learning.
Why? Because people are curious. People want to know what happened. Because the magic bullet theory is as nonsensical as 19 Arabs with box cutters knocking down a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, that's just wild.
2001. And Mike Piper, may Allah rest his soul, he was the first person to tackle the subject of Israel, Zionism, and Jewry on the matter. And this, at the time, America's #1 banned book. It's not a tagline. It's not there for monetary purposes. It's for real.
Excuse me.
There were only 30,000 copies that were in circulation, and it sold out. American Free Press reprinted it, and the hold went after them for years to make sure that the printing wouldn't continue. So I know that Brother Congress has a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy. Real quick, the magic bullet. In case the audience don't know, why don't you explain that real quick?
Yeah, the magic bullet's
so
wild.
insane.
The magic bullet theory stipulates.
Made up by
No.
Which one?
Right. Well, there's a bunch of them, but the standard idea is that this bullet had magical powers and did all the gymnastics inside JFK and multiple people. One shot gambler, one hit.
Hey, what up, Seth Canstanel?
But
That's the official narrative.
I don't know if I said that right, but welcome.
Bullet, like beard, all the different. I don't know how many entries.
Yeah.
It was maybe like 12 or something. It's like boom, boom, turning corners, like literally a magic bullet. And that's the official fucking story.
and on that note, the fact that it was literally codified into the American legal code, it was led by Arlen Specter, one of the most powerful senators in the history.
Fucking
of the
who?
United States. And he headed up the Warren Commission, and he made sure that, yeah, exactly, all of these theories were dispersed. But everyone should always do their own research. Don't take anything that's said at this table.
Look up everything we're talking about here.
So on that note, the most important thing to know about what happened to JFK is that he was at war. That's not our word. You read Israeli media, the Jerusalem Post, Haaretz, multiple books by multiple occupier authors. They said that JFK and David Ben-Gurion were at war with one another. And David Ben-Gurion, and Allah curse him, the founder of the Tuma, or the usurping Zionist Assembly, if you guys aren't up on the lingo, David Ben-Gurion stepped down in June of 1963 because of this quiet diplomatic war that was being waged with JFK.
Well, JFK wrote him a letter.
That's right.
Saying that they're going to have to allow the nuclear inspection, and then immediately he resigned.
Exactly. And on top of that,
Oh, see, I didn't know none of that.
actually sent nuclear inspectors to the Tuma, to the illegal criminal facility in what we call Al-Naqab, or what was called the Negev, Dimona. He sent inspectors to the Negev, to the Dimona facility in occupied Al-Naqab. And the Jews, in true Hollywoodist fashion, they had a room like this and had these inspectors take a look at it, when in reality, all the fucked up, criminal, depraved, and most importantly, weaponized shit was going on beneath the surface.
That pissed Kennedy off, right? 'Cause he knew it was
Extremely. It infuriated him.
and brother RK, we won't get into that right now. But that's a
No,
whole
but
separate
that's
story.
another part of the story. So David Ben Gurion is very important. Next to David Ben Gurion, of course, is Issa Harel, who was the founder of the Mossad. And
Shin Bet.
Shin Bet.
Yeah.
Next to Issa Harel was Mordecai Hard. Most people don't know that name.
I don't know any of these
Mordecai
people.
was
What the fuck?
architect of the USS Liberty massacre.
Shit.
And
What?
he was the chieftain of the Occupation Air Force. And he would go on to be the point man for Shimon Peres, Ehud Barak, and Benjamin Netanyahu for their operations on 9/11. Now, coming back here into America, in Canada, one of the theories that was floated by so many different authors was the mob, right? All these mafiosos were involved. We had Guinea Mafia, we had Spanish Mafia, we had Irish Mafia, any mafia you could think of. Except, when in reality, they were all reporting back to the who?
Meyer Lansky.
Meyer Lansky, but, even more so than that, was Sidney Korshak. I learned about Sidney Korshak through Brother Michael Collins Piper. And there's an incredible book that everyone should read called Super Mob. It doesn't explicitly go into all the Judaic and supremacist connections, but they mention enough Yahud to fill up a few dozen synagogues. And Sidney Korshak was this parasitic demonic lawyer out of Chicago that was connected to the likes of Giancana and a number of other officials. And Sidney Korshak was at the forefront of funneling weapons and arms to those who allegedly shot Kennedy for real. And then the other two names I'd like to mention, I'll pass it back to you, Aki. There was a corporation, and this is where it's very important that if you have read all of these books about JFK that floated and touted all these theories, the thing is, and this is something very true about the Jews in general, there's a concept within Judaism that we talk about often called pilpul. And it's the idea of arguing for the sake of arguing, for the sake of arguing, for the sake of argument. So you're arguing and arguing and arguing, going around the mulberry bush 6 million times over. And at that point, you're so dizzy, you're so exhausted, you forgot what the fuck we were talking about in the first place. So that's what all these books are for. But the craziest thing is that there actually were little nuggets, little gemstones in all of these books. And there were mafia connections. There were international connections. There were even CIA connections, right? But the point man for the JFK assassination was a man by the name of James Jesus Angleton. You find him at the heart of so much skullduggery when it comes
Never heard of him.
to usurping Israeli entity. And James Jesus Angleton was a die-hard Christian Zionist, bought and paid for by even before there even was a tumor in occupied Palestine. But all of these various connections, they consolidate, they overlap, they correlate with a shadowy corporation called Permindex. Everybody look this up. Permindex, the mafia, the CIA, numerous other criminal figures, and most importantly, world Jewry and the usurping entity, they all coalesced here. And Permindex was run by two Mossad figures by the name of Louis Bloomfield, Major Louis Bloomfield, and Tibor Rosenbaum, who was a Yehudi banker at the forefront of way too much evil to talk about on this program. But if you follow Permindex and you follow all of the branches from Tibor Rosenbaum and Louis Bloomfield, you'll uncover the JFK assassination to the letter. And I guess I would conclude by saying that, tying it back to what you were noting about Charlie Kirk, who up until his dying day, I know this is going to offend a lot of people, but up until his dying day, he was a Christian Zionist. Even if he was making this turn, right, and being vulnerable, as Brother Dan had noted, and it's true, he was, but it didn't seem like he had done so for any moral reasons.
It was for money and popularity.
Exactly.
He said all this he was worried about all the questions. He was being attacked and he was losing money.
That's
so
right.
I'm not trying to bash a dead guy, but
No,
he never said like, oh, they're killing too many children in nuclear countries. Like, I'm losing money.
That's true.
KV and I have talked about how even from a purely Christian perspective, you don't care about us. You don't have some greater allegiance to humanity. You know, that's between you and whatever you believe in. But even from the Christian perspective, what they're doing in the occupied West Bank, spitting on Christians, taking ancient Armenian land, and bombing repeatedly a handful of churches in Gaza that are over 1,000 years old.
That was a handful. I think they bombed every one.
All of them. Yeah.
Every hospital.
That's wild.
Every hospital, including those that were
Every single fucking hospital they
destroyed. Every
That
university.
is a key point. Like, everybody wants to make it out like it's against Islam,
But
but
Dan's gonna bounce to what thanks so much for coming in. I've been here 3.5 hours, so yeah, he's in my interview. But thanks so much for dropping in, Dan. I'll hit you
God
up
bless you, my brother.
next week. Alright, see you, brother.
No, I think I'm calling dude too fucking.
I just, yeah, I want,
Might
I
as well.
really, that's.
Thank
the
you guys
point.
so much for being here. I
Thank
appreciate you
God bless
guys,
for
but
everything
we'll call it a
you're saying
night.
there, but
Y'all have a good
there's
night.
a lot of Christians in Palestine, a lot. And Christians actually who took